Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Remco Rinkema, and you are watching Run It Back, the show in which we watch old school poker action, sometimes from a long, long time ago. We've gone as far back as the 70s, sometimes from very recently. We watched an episode of Poker After Dark with Marley Cordero that had just aired the week before. Today, we're somewhere in the middle. We are going back to the heyday of poker, if you want to call it that. We're going to go back to the epic era that was pre-Black Friday poker, joined by one of the main characters of the age of internet idiots. It is Mr. Adam Levy, Ruthless. Thanks for joining me, man. What a pleasure to go back and dive into this stuff with you.
Yeah, this is awesome to just, run it back and check out. Oh, there he is, Phil. And, I do. It really, it's cliche to say, remember like it's yesterday, but you really, everything kind of coming back, rushing back as soon as you start seeing clips.
Yeah, and we have a ton of clips to get into. For the people who are unfamiliar with Adam, he went deep in the 2008 and 2010 WSOP main event, and with deep runs, I mean like double-digit deep run. That's, of course, when it really starts to matter. One of those episodes, which is the very first one that we're starting with, at the feature table with Jean-Robert Belland and Phil Hellmuth. And, of course, that was where the iconic hand happened, that if you've ever watched the WSOP, you will have seen this hand where Mr. Aggressive Call gets Queen 10 against the set of Hellmuth. He makes a straight, and Hellmuth, of course, dives into one of his most infamous tirades. We'll get to that in just a second. We'll do it old school YouTube style. That seems to be the way to do it. Adam Levy reacts, and he's going to give his thoughts on that hand and what went through his mind in that very moment. So we'll get to all that in just a bit. Let me first say to everyone who is tuning in, we are live on Twitch, on Facebook, and on YouTube. If you have questions for me or for Adam, please send them in. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, do all that good stuff, and then we'll be here with you guys for the next 90 minutes to have some fun with this old school WSOP action. Adam, we need to dive into this action right away because, of course, Hellmuth is being introduced. We're going to get some people shown, some faces. There's JRB. You're at this feature table. At this time in your career, when Hellmuth sat down, were you like, oh, yummy, bring it on? Let's pick up some chips.
What am I doing? By the way, this is the jacket. I like had this in my car, like after Black Friday, I just like had my car forever, and like this was just sitting in the back of it, like sweet. So I figured I'd wear it for the episode. But like I woke up late that day, and I just was like, oh my god, saw the table draw. I'm the feature table, like without even like checking. I knew I was the feature table. So, I just remember saying to myself, all right, guys, like you need to, or like to my, you got to relax. Whatever's being shown, like it seems small when you're there, but then you have to realize like, this is going to hit ESPN. This is going to hit the internet. And like, social media was just kind of getting started. Then this could get pretty big.
So were you actively thinking about your image, getting on camera, getting some camera time? Were you thinking about that?
Kind of, but like I hadn't really had much experience with the camera. So I was more like, Adam, I'm like, anxious. I'm like, don't freak out. Like, just play it cool, whatever it is. Like you've been at this time, I felt like I was extremely confident in my poker game. I was doing well online. And this was like my moment almost. I'm deep in the main event, playing well. So, but this hour, there was like an hour of just the aggressive call hand, and then we're going to see another one with Jean Robert. That's my favorite hand of all time, I think.
Oh, the Jean Robert hand was it the same in the same sequence of hands, basically?
It was like this, I think it was like an hour apart.
Okay. Wow. Okay. We'll see. Well, hopefully that's part of this cut. If not, we're going to have to do a separate outtake and review that hand in the moment. But yeah, this table in general is one of the funniest ones that I've seen on the main event broadcast. Just to tee it up for the people that are unfamiliar with you, and of course you going deep in the main event, that's of course a big deal. When did your poker career start? When can you really tell yourself like, oh, I'm now a professional poker player?
2005 January, because I kept like doing this thing where so it was weird. Like basically I started playing poker in 2003 through Magic, the Gathering. I had a bunch of friends. Ben Stark is one of like still to this day like streams Magic every day on Twitch, and like he's one of the best in the world. But he was the guy who was like, we're playing poker now. So I started playing, but I was kind of told that I should just stop after like 6 months because I just was like not good.
Hmm.
But I knew that the way that I learned was like, it was the first thing I'd ever in my life been like, I can be good at this. Like, I know I can do it. And also the way that I learn sometimes can be like irritating, like the way that I like to other people, but I know that eventually I will get it. And then it'll click. It'll take longer. So, yeah. And then, so it took about a year and a half. And I feel like back then it wasn't like you could just go on to buy some coaching, like buy, some program or whatever it is. And it was just a lot of figuring it out. And I guess it turned out I just had some like things that I unintentionally kind of discovered that were like, apparently looking back was like kind of ahead of its time. Like people were 3xing and like just open raising, and I just would like 2.25 or something. And apparently, like it was like that was like something that was just not many people knew to do that inherently. So then in like January 2005, I just was going from waiting job to playing poker to waiting job to playing poker because I kept going broke every time I'd quit. It was like about a year where I had like 4 different waiting jobs, like 3 different Olive Gardens, this and that. And then I just was like, I'm doing this. We got to stop with this waiting crap. And then I just like was broke for a month and a half, and then turned like $100 into 35K or something from like a party poker run. And after that, I kind of just was like, all right, I guess we're doing this now.
Wow. So that is, of course, the story that most of the people have from that era. Like all of a sudden, they had that run and that was enough to sustain themselves. And then they, sort of stuck around and made it work. Would you say that you were ever sort of at the top in the tournament poker scene, whether it was live or online? Was there ever like a peak moment we can remember, like, oh, you were, dominating everyone?
I mean, kind of like, I guess if the first Pocket Fives ranking, I was technically 5th. But maybe that's like a confidence thing, or me not being confident back in the day. But I never felt like I was like deserving of like the upper echelon. But like looking back, there were definitely things that I did that I was just like definitely ahead of the curve on. I don't ever think like when like me and Ape Styles, like we kind of came up together, and I always thought that he was better, and like, I mean, look at him now, but I, for whatever reason, because I was a little more like even keel and like just like grinder tight, whatever, like it seemed like the results initially were maybe like I was doing whatever either way, but like and then like, but I always felt like I don't almost didn't feel like deserving. I felt like it was a little bit of luck, but I mean, I think everyone deserves a little bit of luck in their poker career. And but then I'd say like 2000, I mean, I had like a 3 or 4 year run. When I look back, I was like, holy crap, it was like top 50 on OPR for like 1 year, then like top 100, and then like I think 2012 was probably the coolest moment for me. It was 2014 maybe, either way, where I like had to do a W Coop final table at a live final table
Oh,
in EPT Monte Carlo. It was like some like Monaco Cup or whatever. And like, I'm like going all in while I'm playing, like while I'm flopping trips over here. And I ended up getting 3rd in the Monaco Cup and 1st in the W Coop. And it was like that was like, or maybe it was a scoop, but either way, that was like my like, this feels so fucking good moment.
that's awesome. I mean, what was the grind like at the peak of your online poker grind? Because a lot of viewers now might not have played a lot in that era before Black Friday. I played a lot in that era also, so I know how crazy it got. So what were your days like? How many tables were you playing? How many buy-ins were you doing? And what I personally always love hearing about, and I'm not sure if it's the same for you, the range of buy-ins. Like I remember railing Sean Deep, and he played a $3 rebuy all the way up to like whatever the biggest thing was. So what was your grind like?
I mean, that's kind of similar. I think the $3 rebuy I would probably end up tapping out at just because it took so long and it annoyed me. I'd probably go 11 rebuy, and then or probably $20 buy-in freeze outs to, oh, this is it. This is my favorite hand.
Let's listen in, and we'll tell me to stop whenever.
Jean Robert had a 9-1 chip lead, heads up, looking for his first bracelet just before the main event, but Matthew Graham beat him.
I play all my chips. And Balan is going to move all in with ace-queen. Big blind Phil Hellmuth folds.
There's just so many
back
good
to a
things about
Copian
this
now.
hand.
He
Like
just
I
over
watched it
66,000
500
call.
times and made probably more. It was like my Facebook
And a call
cover
from a Copian quickly.
photo for a bit.
10-9 will call him.
Wow.
So when you said that earlier, I thought you meant that you were in hand against JRB, and I was looking for it, and I was like, I didn't see that.
No, because he's not there very long.
Can I not raise it up? No.
He like raise calls 8-10-9 offsuit for like 13 bigs.
We talk a lot about the landmines the
amazing.
pros have to dodge in the main event. Here's one.
I love the call, but I'm not very lucky in these kind of situations. Oh, man. Phil, what's going on here? Don't send me home with the 10-9. Please don't send me home with the 10-9.
Don't get Phil started on this type of situation.
Mathematically,
He's definitely
I don't know
hamming
if
up a
that was
little
the
bit,
right call.
Yeah.
It's not an all
but you know, it's definitely not an easy situation to be in. At the World Series main event, I think this might have been like one of his first times cashing.
And there's an ace.
Yes.
John Robert loves the call now.
So right here, if everyone starts naming cards, like you know, like oh the 6, the 9, like whatever it is, they all name cards except like for me because I'm like the dude who just knows immediate. Like I knew no 7, no 6, no 10, no like all the cards. They don't name the one card that ends up coming. That and I'm like I'm not gonna be that guy who's gonna like you know be like actually this one too.
No jacks, no 7s, and I don't need any more pairs.
No jacks, no 7s, and he doesn't need any more pairs.
Deuce ball.
It's a 6.
That's the card I'm talking
Not
about.
over yet, John Robert.
Did I tell you that you look very handsome today, sir?
John Robert, he could still hit a 7.
A Copian with a straight draw.
Balan thought it was over. Almost, Jean Robert.
John Robert, ladies and gentlemen.
See me and Phil are laughing there.
Bye
He
bye.
thinks he's going to hit the
Bye-bye.
4-outer.
Don't do it to me like that. That would be ugly.
The Copian needs a 7 for a straight to knock out Jean Robert.
River card. Oh! There's a 7. Balan is gone.
Thank goodness it wasn't Phil.
Oh,
God.
He came back from China for this.
God. Excuse me.
he does make his first main event cash, but he's not happy about that right now.
I mean it's just you're speechless after that.
It-
Like
It's so perfect the way the whole sequence of events. We got to go see that again.
it's like it's the perfect poker hand. It feels like.
All right, here it is. 6 on the turn.
6.
That's the card I'm talking about.
Not over yet, John
sir.
Robert.
Did I tell you that you look very handsome today, sir?
John Robert, he could still hit a 7.
A Copian with a straight draw.
Balan thought it was over. Almost, Jean Robert.
John Robert, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye.
This is the best. Bye bye.
Copian thinks he's going to hit the 4-outer.
Don't do it to me like that. That would be ugly.
The Copian needs a 7 for a straight to knock out Jean Robert.
River card. Oh! There's a 7.
There's like 8 people you can look at
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that
yeah.
moment.
Oh man, that's amazing. And
Even Phil
yeah,
is
he, like-
complete.
it's just fantastic. This is
I
just
think it like yes, I'm involved in the hand, but I think it's my favorite hand of all time. Like just and
it's just so good, you know. JR, like whenever we post a video of Jean-Robert Balan from a cash game or from whatever on the PokerGo YouTube channel, the comments are always like, "Why don't you post JRB winning a hand?" And he loses so many big hands on TV that you'd almost start feeling bad for him.
it's he's the lovable loser kind of.
Yeah, but he also like, you know, gets it in good, loses, flip, loses. Like it's just.
Yeah, I wonder.
hilarious.
Wait, is this like after?
He's jumping up and down.
Yeah.
I thought it was over.
The fact that he has to sweat it pre-flop against 10-9, or, you know, like expecting, you
And
know.
it's ace-8. It's over.
Yeah, that would have been a bad beat.
I haven't
anytime.
actually
Even more
heard this in
dramatic
so
when it
long.
happens
I
at this stage.
tried to find the old like episodes and I couldn't like a while back.
Right.
So
So
it's kind of I didn't even realize that I'm actually conversing with Phil before you know the hand.
and also the funny thing is that, you know, upsell, all this stuff is available on PokerGo. Every single episode from every single main event is all on PokerGo, so you can just relive the entire 08 main event if you want. There's just so many good gems out there. And on this show, I've been rewatching a lot of the whole stuff, and there's so many funny moments in all these broadcasts. It's just fantastic.
The editing is great, and also just like it's just comical. Some of the things that happen.
Well, it's the one episode where I believe it's the 07 main event where Hellmuth's at the feature table and he calls a guy from Romania an idiot like at least 20 times. And the guy just like has like a meltdown, and he's like,
"This is my life.
This is my money. I play mine."
That's day 5 of this year.
Oh, is it? Is it this year?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
man, I need to have Hellmuth back on the show and do a super cut of all his moments.
Oh man,
that'd be so amazing. Anyway, if you're just tuning in, Adam Levy's on the show. We are watching the old school action. People in the chat are saying, "Is this the guy from Aggressive Call?" Yes, it is. That's the guy. We're going to get to that later in the show. Adam Levy joining us. We're talking about his career, about his deep runs.
It is Levy. Sorry,
Levy.
I know it sounds weird, but it's just Levy.
Levy. Oh, so yes. That's the thing. You sometimes you hear it both ways, and then you get confused. Levy.
Well, is it Remco Rinkema?
Rinkema. Yeah, very good. Very good. See, now you're making me look bad. You have an easy. You have an easy.
It's tough to get. It's tough to get.
Easy 4-letter last name, and I still managed to fuck it up. Very impressive. People in the chat, thank you all so much for chiming in. If you have any questions, please send them in. People referencing the old school $11 rebuy, the 33 regular. My personal favorite was the $3 rebuy because I was pretty poor, but it started at 7 p.m. Local time in Europe, and then basically if you went deep, it was worth staying up for. I believe I made the final table of that a couple times back in my heyday, but I was mostly a $4.40 160 man grinder and those $11.70 double shootouts for Sunday Million tickets. Those are my jam. By the way, from your internet grinding days, what were some of your favorite moments? As for you referenced a deep or scoop win. Were there any other moments that stood out? Perhaps grinding with friends or being in a special place on your laptop.
Oh man, yeah. There was honestly, it was like one of my it was a beautiful moment. It was the Super Bowl that ended up like, who was it? It was Peyton Manning, I think, but it was a complete dud of a year. I think maybe 2007, and I ended up getting third in the Sunday Million that day, but it was the same time as the Super Bowl party at the house that I was living in.
Okay.
But it was such a dud that everyone was watching. So when I got knocked out, I got like a clap. Everyone was like, gave me like a standing ovation because it was like 56K or something. So I was like a really cool moment, I'd say. It's just like, because a lot of times you're just by yourself at the end of a online tournament or something.
Yeah, and in most cases, like there's half drank bottles of Coke. There's some empty bags of chips. The sun is rising.
Yeah.
The quintessential online grinder atmosphere. We're still watching, by the way, for people who are just tuning in, the 08 main event. Got some questions about which year was this. If you want to watch it all, like I said earlier, it's all available.
Wait. This hand?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be referenced in that aggressive call.
Okay.
Hand, by the way, you don't have to like necessarily watch it, but remember, like I'll call back to it. Just remember this hand.
Ruthless Adam Levy.
He said he wanted to quadruple it before.
Come on, give me at least 3 people in this spot.
9-8 of diamonds.
Then trying to drum up business.
Levy folds.
Boy, oh boy, I just don't want to have to show how ugly this hand is.
It is ugly, but he's got to call 10,000.
It's like so Hellmuth raised with Jack 4 and then like had to call. I guess this is like a spot that I just don't really like. I would just avoid. Like you don't really need to win the blinds that much to have to raise with Jack 4 when this dude you have to call for like 6 big. I
mean, Hellmuth's style will never change. He'll berate someone else for playing Jack 4, and then he'll try mixing it up himself with the same cards.
Yeah. So there's that. So there's a guy. Man, it was this table was great because there was another guy who was like, you can't really see him right now, but he's from Georgia, and every time he like won a hand, he would just or doubled up, he would go like touchdown Georgia. And it was like, that was like such a great, I started, I never forgot it. I just love it as a celebration.
So, to go meta here, when you look back on your 2 deep runs in the main event, are you proud of those results, or do those both feel like what could have been?
I think, unfortunately, on the 2 bust outs, they were like a little bit of, I would like those hands back maybe,
right?
But like not like in a I was completely lighting money on fire. It was just like I should have just taken a different route. But it's been so many years, and I was actually thinking about it the other day. Like, my life would be so completely different, and I'm not necessarily sure in a good way if I had gotten like third in the main event or something when in 2010 or something. It was just like I'm happy with how things have gone. Obviously it would be nice to be at the final table of a main event or something, but I don't necessarily know if I could have handled the pressure or as well as maybe I could have. Like, yeah, let's go today. Let's final table right now.
But it's also funny because in a way, not making the final table has also led to opportunities and meeting people, all this sort of stuff. So if you ever take something back, butterfly effect, things go different, and maybe you're super rich, but maybe you're not as happy. So that does make it tough. But we'll get to your elimination, and we'll discuss that. However, now in true YouTube fashion, we're going to need Adam Levy reacts, because this is quite the moment.
52,000, gave up almost 90,000 to Carrere there. Back to our feature table, and Phil Hellmuth. Hellmuth looks down at an 8. He has pocket 8s.
Oh no, I'm gonna do something here. This hand wasn't very good for me yesterday, though.
Let's think positive thoughts, my poker king.
Raised to 15,000.
Maybe today's a different day.
Today, like yesterday, Phil's face is on 12 million beer cans.
Full 3x under the gun.
Yep. So are you looking to get into pots with Phil, or is this pretty standard for you?
I mean, I'm just playing poker. I'm not trying to, and I'm not gonna have the like ego to be like, oh, I can definitely battle Phil. This is my first feature table in the World Series main event. Let's not like get too out of pocket.
20,000. Levy with the draw.
Yeah, why wouldn't he stick around with that straight?
And look at the chips. The stacks are super deep. So, what? Give me a guess. You got like 200 bigs or something?
No, because it's 5K big blind, but so orange that's like a 40 stack of orange, which is weird. I never stack them in 40 anymore. But like, so that's 200K, 320, about 400 I have. And I think he's got a little more. I mean, whoever's seat 1, I guess that's our guy has a ton. But yeah, we're like about 100 big blinds, maybe 80 big blinds deep, I'd say.
Right, which is still a lot for day 4 of the main event.
Draw.
Yeah.
I'll call. All right, so now the turn card. Turns an 8 of diamonds. Levy hits a straight, and that also gives Hellmuth a set.
That is an unfortunate card for Phil.
Phil checks.
See, the check here. This is there was a while where like people would be like, you bet too small or this or that or whatever. And granted, I will say now that I definitely bet too small. You just shouldn't be betting that small on a like a double suited, straight. There's 3-4 to straight for a lot of cards there. 7 to 10. You should just bet bigger. But I was so confused. I didn't think anyone would just check call here with a strong hand.
Right.
A deuce on the river. Levy earns the check mark. He's got the straight.
I mean, like that deuce of clubs is just, I should get a tattoo of it or something. It's like the most beautiful card you've ever seen.
Yep.
60,000 from Phil Hellmuth.
So this seems like a classic Phil Hellmuth line. You hit your card, you check, and then on the river a blank hits and you lead. At this point, you're thinking, like, how much am I going to raise? How well, you know the result now, but how well in that moment did you read Hellmuth for what he had?
I mean, I was just so like in my head, I'm like, does he have like he can't have deuces here. Like, does he have like queens or, like some overpair, ace jack or something? Oh, by the way, apparently Hellmuth like spoke to one of the like FBI guys or CIA guys a few weeks after I read a blog that apparently me doing this and going like is like me like being like the nuts. I don't know. But so I guess I stopped doing that. But that's what the guy said in retrospect. I don't know if it was fool's gold or snake oil or anything. But yeah, so I'm like okay, like I'm just like I have the nuts. I'm not gonna 4x it here or something and try to get paid because I don't think he has a very strong hand.
Right.
Like it's shocking to me that he has 8s here. I don't think anyone, like, honestly, like, I don't know what Hellmuth's logic is here, but I can unequivocally say that if you turn this is like a set of 8s here, you should probably on a, double suited, very straight, like it's a very wet board, like just bet. I don't really know, but on the turn at least.
His quote is also great. Let's listen.
Value bets it.
Yeah, the queen 10 straight is just almost disguised with that board.
I'm not tricky enough to play queen 10 this good, am I?
Levy's the one with the queen 10.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know what it means. I have the nuts.
Levy announces raise up to 155,000.
That raise freezes Phil momentarily.
You see me like do
Let's
a
see
little
if he
bit of
comes
like a
back over the
twitch.
top with
Like
the
I'm
nuts.
definitely nervous, but it's like even nervous with the nuts. So it's like you can't really read into that too much.
Phil just with a call.
Queen 10.
Yeah, Levy with a queen 10 and the win.
Called a race with a. He called a race with queen 10, honey.
I know, honey. He's some online guy.
I had a set. He's supposed to bust me anyway. Called a race with a queen 10. You're not a player.
I think he's from Florida or someplace stupid.
Called a race with queen 10. Idiot player.
Actually, he doesn't look like an idiot player, and I don't think he did anything wrong that hand.
How hard was it?
I'm trying not to laugh right there.
Right. How hard was it not to laugh?
I mean, like I'm holding in a laugh.
This was bound to
and I'm
happen.
just like, okay, like this is like Hellmuth. This is kind of awesome. Like he's yelling at me, you know, I did it. He's super tilted because he legitimately lost with whatever he has, you know.
Queen 10. How do these players, how are they even still in this tournament?
They let him in every day.
And I have a set.
I know you had a set, Puddin'.
It's just unbelievable. This kid probably won't last another hour.
Half hour tops.
I promise. Watch, he called a race with a queen and a 10.
A queen and a 10.
How do these players even last this long?
Don't know.
I mean, it's just so sick. They have no concept of
None.
poker.
It was an aggressive call.
Aggressive call? Idiot. Freaking gave me a freaking. Nice deal in there. Mighty fine, buddy.
So the whole thing is I didn't make that up. I didn't make the term up. Apparently there was some thing on like some heated debate on 2+2 with Vanessa Russo where she called something an aggressive call. And it just came to me in the moment. I even say like a la Vanessa Russo, but if you like go back and you just see Hellmuth's like reaction, he had just cooled off and it just was like he became like this is the using
One time.
By the way, hold on. By the way, you know, as much as Adam's presence in this hand is fantastic, and this is one of my favorite hands of all time, what the dealer Ben says in this moment will go down in history as one of the greatest quotes of all time.
He got promoted the next year, and I was like, bros, because the hand he just did, you know, I was like, he was a floor man the next year.
Everyone listen to this.
Nice deal in there. Mighty fine, buddy. Mighty fine. You know, I haven't won a pot one time. They've been just raising me and re-raising me all day.
Actually, this is a new dealer.
You give me a set.
I just sat down, though.
Unbelievable.
I am exhausted, Lon.
Idiot players call raises with 10 and 10. They don't even know how to spell poker. I mean, like, this kid has all the chips. He probably won't even make the final 200.
Can you call a clock on tirades?
You showed a raise with Jack 4. What do you think the guy's going to do? Call you?
Uh-oh.
There it is.
Come on.
Buddy, you moved in with King 10, so please don't discuss poker with me.
Poker, Brat, Rant.
I mean, this is just Phil Hellmuth at its best. It's just,
Yeah, I mean, so a couple things. He came back and was like okay, we'll start at the actual hand first. There was a dealer change.
There's more talk here. I want to hear this.
Okay.
I'd rather just be friends.
No.
We're having good chats.
No, I think you want to give me a bunch of chips. I think you feel bad because you know you're not playing very well. And
Only thing bad I did was call raise the queen 10 of clubs. Other than that, I think I played the hand pretty damn well.
I've got to agree with
Wow. Backtracking,
Wow.
backpedaling a little bit.
Tom Honey Bunch.
All right, while Phil stews in his own steam, let's take a look.
I'm like I don't like to argue, you know, like
Right.
I like to, you know, let's mediate. Let's figure this out. Let's be friends.
Exactly. A has-been known as Efro Poker on Twitch says, Ruthless was a poker player? I know, right? Little throwback there. People are loving this hand. All saying it's such a classic moment. Mad nostalgia, Frankie says on Twitch. Definitely mad nostalgia. The I just sat down, man, still my favorite quote of all time. It's just so perfect. For you guys have to understand, Ben has been at the WSOP for far longer than that. He was at WSOP, I think maybe 2005 or 2006, and I've known him for a very long time. And the smirk on his face when Hellmuth starts chirping at him, that is just the wheels turning in his head of like, oh, I got a zinger for you, and he just delivers it at the perfect moment, and now he's just, you know, part of poker history with that. By the way,
and Norm and Lon do such a good job of like whoever, like the editing, the writing, it's just perfect. And what I was saying was that Hellmuth never misses a hand. Like, he didn't miss a hand. He knew that the dealer was there so he could rant
right
for 30, 45 seconds.
Oh man.
See when
We have to try, Evelyn. Come on.
I'm sure you'll love it too.
I really don't remember too much of this beyond this, but I know that there's a couple more hands that are played later in the day.
Yeah, so let's summarize this 2008 run as we get towards the end of this episode before pivoting into 2010. How did your main event end in 08? Because I don't believe that was shown, or at least not the whole hand.
I did a good job of busting to people who went super deep. Ivan Demidov got me. He was raising every hand, and I had 15 big blinds, 3 like with 48 left, and I just went all in with ace 10 from the big blind to his UTG 1 raise, but I didn't really count it as, you know, a UTG 1 raise because the dude was chip leader, like, or 2 top tip. Like, I'm just like really good at playing the ladder game. There were 3 away from the money next pay jump, and I had 15 big blinds. Like, there's no reason for me to go all in there. I can just call. But either way, the flop came 10 and would have gotten in against kings. I just ran into it, you know.
Right.
So it was unlucky. But I think also there were a lot of spots that, you know, just I was playing a little too tight back in 2008. I mean, it worked for a while. Oh, that's the touchdown Georgia guy.
Dying to knock out Hellmuth.
And that happens to Phil a lot.
Phil now at risk, and he's not going to be happy if he gets knocked out this way.
On the prowl to talk to his family.
Oh, boy. I have a bad feeling. I hope we can get by this.
I didn't realize Phil was this short.
Yeah, man, you put a big dent in his stack.
Yeah.
Tell me no ace, please, girls.
Ace.
All right, now the turn card. It's a 5. Phil's still good.
Like a moment like this, it always reminds me of other moments in the main event. This one specifically reminds me of the moment where Mike Mattisau is all in versus Scott Lazar is all in against Mike Mattisau, and Mattisau's friend calls the river wrong, so Mattisau thinks he wins, but the guy makes runner flush against after he hits a king with kings against aces, one of my favorite hands of all time. He's also standing off to the side. He's like, "You said I got it. You said I got it." So
Scott Lazar, you know, I'm like Dragon Ball Z, like Super Saiyan.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
That reaction, that's an amazing hand too. I actually played with him like the last live main event next to him and chatted about it. But
such a legendary moment, 2005 main event. So either way, things didn't work out for you in 08. Of course, your career continued 09 and then 2010. We're about to get to that. When would you say, you know, poker was no longer the main course for you? Did you keep playing throughout after Black Friday? Did you relocate? How did you approach the game when things changed?
I think you know, I gotta deal with UB in like 2008 after this, which was like great, but I think I kind of got caught up in the culture of poker, less about just being good at poker. And so people caught up to me, and then like, but I kind of you know, I figured that out and got better in 2010 and caught up again, and thought that I was really in like a good place right around Black Friday. But the whole thing was, there was just like full tilt right there. The what was it? The multi-tables?
Oh,
or no, not
multi-entry.
Multi-entry. It was like, I was like relieved that Black Friday happened for the first week, because I was like spending 10K in buy-ins like per day, like not even on a Sunday, you know? And it was just like, I was looking for a way out kind of, but then I kind of had to start playing after a bit. And, you know, I think Americans really had by the way, that's the murderer, like Keith, I forget his last name, but that was his old on Full Tilt.
Oh,
no, sorry, not an actual murderer. I'm like morphing back into, you know, I knew everyone's online name, but he played really well throughout the day at this, like he was just bluffing everyone and crushing it. But yeah, I mean, I went through like, dude, Black Friday was tough. there are a lot of people who did. I mean, I didn't know how to handle it. It's just a weird thing to go from being able to play online to literally having to go to your own country to do that. So I went through a few years of just trying to figure it out. And, honestly, like it's 11 years since, right? Or 10 years since.
10 years, yeah.
But like, I think it took me about 3 to 4 years to fully like kind of unwind for, I don't know. I was really deep in the poker culture, and it took me a while to realize like, hey, maybe you're just like not, people are actually really good now.
Right.
And you need to kind of reassess like your career path and stuff. That's fine. Everyone has to go through that.
So did you not study a lot? Did you just, think like, oh, I can just play and it'll be fine?
Pretty much. I think that's kind of like that was how it was in school. And, I was just good at this. And then I kind of tried to use that same approach in poker. And I studied a little bit, but not nearly enough. And honestly, I think everyone outside of America really just caught up to, America after Black Friday, and the game got just like way tougher and way more analytical and a lot less like feel and a lot less fun for me. I think I still love to go and play online, like WCoop. Like if I could go, I'd love to go like right now or whatever it's going on. Like I still love just playing online for a weekend. It's super fun. But yeah, overall, like it's just the game kind of changed a little bit, I think, for me.
At what point were you no longer a poker professional? I'm assuming that right now you would not say that you play poker for a living, right?
Yeah, no, I haven't. I'd say like probably in 2016, I started trying to pivot away. I moved to LA, separated completely from poker world, actually. But like still kind of always got roped back in. And I'd say like probably, oh man, the Candio hand. Oh man, that's a moment. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't until like recently where, I mean, even during quarantine, I played for the first 3 months, and then now I got a job as a fraud analyst.
So, a lot of stories still left to be told. Before we dive into this 2010 run, I just want to treat everyone at home, and Adam included, into this amazing ESPN intro. This, in my opinion, WSOP main event, coolest tournament of the year. But coolest day of the year is the day they make the final table of the WSOP. I know we no longer have November 9. That's no longer a thing. However, once we're down to the final table, it's a final table, whatever. Making the final table the main event is such a huge milestone for everyone that the day that happens, to me, is always the most exciting to be in the room, to be in the Amazon room. So I'm telling you, fans at home, if you're watching, if you don't play the main event, or if you just want to come visit Vegas, be in the building for that day. Lives are being changed.
It's a great day. I think the last 3 years I've just been around it.
Right.
It's super fun.
So let's listen to this intro, and then everybody will agree with me.
We'll have the last laugh. For Norman Chad, I'm Lon McCarran. See you next time from the main event of the World Series of Poker.
So here comes 2010. There it is.
Previously on the World Series of Poker.
Filippo Candio does manage to stay alive in this main event. Now the river card. Will it be the Mizrachi's last? It's another race.
Mizrachi Palooza continues.
Flop. Oh, diamond. Steven flops to nut flush. Win takes the pot.
Hell yeah.
Now the climactic episode is upon us. Tonight, all questions will be answered. The final players will
Yeah, there I am.
There he is.
There wasn't, I was showing fist pumping a lot.
Half will be heartbroken. Half will make it to
God.
the
Yeah, this is a
promised
great,
land. Because when it's all
great
said and
intro.
done, the November 9 will be set.
I mean, it gives me chills. I mean, it's just so cool to see. Anyway, this is the day before the November 9 is set. You were still in the hunt in the main event 2010. Give us a little rundown of what your lead up was to make it to day 8, by the way. This is not day 7, it's day 8. Give me your story from that event.
I'd say it was like kind of, just a smooth sailing. But I had some weird all-ins that would just like, you need those to go deep in the main event. So I had day 1, I got jacks in against 9-6 suited on a jack 8-4 rainbow board. like in a 3-bet pot. Like the guy just 3-bet. I re-raised him on the flop and he went all in. And it ended up being some good Australian pro like years later or whatever, but he was just way too aggressive at the time. So that was like first double up. Then on day 4, I got it in. I 5-bet aces at 800K. Sorry, I had 800K. Sorry. Either way, I had like 200 big blinds and the other guy had 200 big blinds. And the guy called and the flop came deuce, 10, 9, rainbow, 1 spade. I like bet. The guy went all in. I called. He is ace deuce of spades for bottom pair. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like playing like a 400 big blind pot or something like on like right before the money. And like, okay, with aces. And I held like, so you kind of need these just random, like absurdly crazy, like no equity all ins almost where like you're putting that many big blinds in, and after that, you just win a flip here, kings versus king or something and just hold.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way to go deep in the main event. It's not that complicated. Just get a few hands in your favor and just ride it out. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but your style is also perfectly suitable for the main event. Nothing too crazy, tight. You're just waiting for your spots, and that works when you get the occasional good hand.
Yeah. Is this final 2 tables or final 3?
Final 2 tables.
Okay. So before this, I had actually had like the spot that basically changed. I feel like to me, like I think I mentioned it to you earlier, it kind of changed, felt like it changed the fate of my life almost. Because I had like queens versus like, basically I had queens, I 3-bet it and some crazy action happened that I had to decide if I wanted to call off with it or not. And it was only a spot where I basically knew that past LaFrancois gets like 13th. He basically like had ace king, kings or aces. So it was basically like I was just gonna be flipping my main event away essentially. And I just chose to fold. And it's like, I'm definitely being very brief about it, far more complex than that. But, and like I ended up asking him as soon as I busted out and he said he had ace king. And like, I don't think he's lying to me as I bust out in 12th. That would be pretty cruel. But I mean, I would have essentially been flipping with 27 left, like for like my tournament life, which I'm fine with, and it's not really that much of a flip with queens, but I just maybe it was like jitters, maybe it was anxiety, maybe it was just knowing that he just didn't have jacks there, and I just folded that. But then I doubled up. And once again, a set versus a gut shot with and got back to where I was. And then kind of there, like, man, I'm sorry, I know we're talking about the final 3 tables, but there were some interesting aspects of it.
Yeah.
Because the Candio hand happened with 19 left.
Right.
And Joe Chong was completely demolishing the final, that table. And ended up going on for me, Duhamel, and then Pass. We're all 6-handed at this one table. And like, it was a tough table. So because they went on for 2 hours longer or whatever it was to go from 19 to 18, that kind of affected like where I was. I think I was like 3 of 18 and then I went in like 6 of 18 and just like was kind of like, maybe my mindset wasn't really there with 19 left and then just kind of got the bad table draw the final 2 tables.
Right. So it's safe to say that was a pretty stacked situation to be in for a main event. You have, Joe Chong, Pascal Lefrancois, yourself, all at the table in a spot like that. Did you feel added pressure knowing they were good players, and you were like, I might as well wait it out for the redraw, lose some of my chips, and then maybe
that's exactly how I felt.
Okay,
and I think it affected me. Where instead of me just being like, I'll bet this flop, I'm just like, let's just get to the river or whatever. Kind of, and I think Duhamel, and also they had infinite chips. Like he's 26 million chips right now, they had so many chips combined. So I was just trying to, play, also it's a ladder for a good amount. So yeah, I mean, maybe I don't really, it's probably fine the way I played it, but not like I wasn't really being as aggressive as I could have been.
How important was the money for you? By the way, we see you here with 5s. Let's have a look.
Well, I mean, full disclosure, I literally was in 230K of makeup So that's also another thing that came into the queen's hand was I had to get final 4 tables to get out of makeup.
Wow.
So literally day 8 starts, 3 hands in, that queen's hand comes up, and I'm making like 20K for myself at this point or whatever.
Wow.
So like that definitely started, but like after this, now we're making money, now
Right.
it's like 400K or whatever to 18th, whatever it is, like, let's go. Yeah, like I went so card dead during this, and it would be like this where it's like I have to call the 3-bet, like I just have to. I have to defend the big blind. Okay, cool. Like I'm not gonna go all in versus him, but I'm gonna call and see if I can hit a 5, and let's see what happens.
So for the people unfamiliar, 200K makeup means that someone is staking you, helping you play the bigger buy-ins, and you had to win back.
Wait, I just fold here? Come on, man, Adam. Like, what you got? What do you? But that's the thing. Maybe I was just like, oh, here's another thing. Back in the day, if you made the final table, you like really made a lot of money outside of just making the final table.
Right.
Like you had 3 months to market yourself. So I kind of started viewing it as maybe a satellite and really didn't want to like, get myself involved. So maybe that's why I was folding, but I would never fold that today. Like just, hey, you know what? We live, we learn.
But then my explanation of the makeup is also interesting because being 200K in makeup, and then you cashed for I think 650 or something in that range during this event, so you got out of makeup. Was that a pivot moment where you're like, I'm on my own now, or did you continue to play because that agreement was good for you, good for your mindset, good for the way you played?
I mean, I think actually, funny enough, the reason why maybe I got into makeup was we had separate live and online deals, and I was annihilating online the year before, and I went on my own, and then I was kind of like, you say you're not gonna like, it's not really gonna affect you or whatever, but then you're just playing like, you're just the event, you're just not like playing as well as maybe you should just because you're getting deeper in makeup. But after that, like it was definitely going to be a square up and let's just like kind of move on. And, I think, I don't know, makeup deals it's a slippery slope, I think a lot of times. And, it's just like, that was like it's kind of like the standard, but it's not because it was there, not necessarily the best option.
Right. So do you think that type of deal has died out into the current poker environment, or do you still hear about players playing in those old school type deals?
They still exist, but I think they just need to have like far more like structure in place. And I also think like selling action is just far simpler and better for both parties. Less because like there were so many people that would just like you remember like backs and sheets or whatever. Mm-hmm. So many people would just stake, a lot of people back in the day. And it's a whole operation. And yeah, you're making money and this and that, but like you can't just do it. You have to treat it like a business and be very strict, and there are a lot of people who just did not. And it's a good way to lose all your money after you just earned by yourself making money and playing poker.
Did your backers ever, criticize bust out hands, or did you have to like tell them like how it happened? And was there ever sort of like a, accountability element to it?
I mean, I think it was there was like a bit of like, they knew overall that I was pretty good. But at some point I think like, the game started catching up a little bit. And yeah, I mean, I would tell them they would probably not be, I think there were a couple hands that I remember being like, what happened there?
Right.
Like, what was I doing? And that's just kind of, that's just the nature of playing poker. You're just a matter of learning from it.
What sticks out in your mind from this day in particular? I mean,
I think we all know.
it's the one hand, right?
Yeah, it's the one hand. I mean, it is just like, if you want to say that the Jean-Robert Ballon hand or the Hellmuth hand is like one of the best hands of all time, this is like one of the most emotional hands like you can possibly even, or not, like that, the hand that's gonna, happen, not this one. Yeah.
This one on the surface feels similar when you're watching it like this, watching it through.
Yeah.
But the hands were reversed. which is funny. But so yeah, we'll get to that hand as well. So once again, coming back to your run, you said that, you know, if a few things go different, you might be at the final table. You might be looking at this as a satellite to make it. What was the rest of your day/week like after you busted? Were you still following until they got down to the final table? Did you not care at all? Did you party? Like, were you like upset? Like, how did that feel?
I don't think anyone knows how to manage those feelings correctly. I'll just say it right there. Like I wasn't crying, but I was definitely extremely emotional. And like also like thankful, because it's so conflating, the feelings. You're getting 600K, but then also you were so close to all this other money and the glory of winning like something that you're professional at, you know? So it really like is akin to like maybe not losing the Super Bowl, but like not to, you know, like maybe losing like the conference. I don't even know, just something close to that, to be honest, where you're like happy to have been there, but also really sad to have, you know, not made it farther. It took me about a week before I was like, I mean, I definitely chilled out, you know, I was ultimately happy, you know, but it took me about a week to like kind of just get back out there and start grinding again, I'd say. But I wouldn't say it took me a week to get over it. I'd say it took me like multiple years, because like there was definitely like a good amount of like regret, I think, to my own, you know, maybe not regret, but like you just have to like kind of, you know, come to terms with like, you know, a lot of things you could have done differently.
Right. Are you ever in your life, you know, Poker Pro or not, going to miss the main event because, you know, regardless of how you stack up against the current, you know, pro player pool, I would say that the main event ticket is always a golden kind of ticket.
I will be in my wheelchair, you know, like with my IV, you know, like playing the main event, like that dude who like and I really, there's really nothing like it. Also, quick question. I technically, you know, minor brag, I've cashed the main event the last 3 years, but does it count the last 3 years that they actually had it in the Rio? Does it count? That like, does my streak still continue?
Oh, I mean, this is a hot button item. Let me make sure I don't get fired. In my personal opinion, the WSOP main event did not happen in 2020 for the sake of, you know, streaks. You know, let's recognize the player that won the main event as they had it, but for the sake of record keeping, you can't tell.
It's like a different thing.
It's a different thing. So, you know, I can't fault you for your streak being over, but your streak also has to do with the fact that, you know, it's live. You're in the Amazon room. There's a whole lot of emotions happening. So I don't want to discredit the guy who won the main event, but I also don't want to take your streak away. So, you know, let's just call it what it is, and I think the streak can continue this year.
Awesome. I agree with that answer.
not that I'm in a position to make a ruling on this, but that's just how I feel. I just miss. I miss being in the Amazon room. I miss that place. There's something special about it. Real quick, what was the first time you walked into the World Series of Poker / Amazon room, and what was it like to step into that place?
I won a seat for Party Poker in like 2005, I think, and it was definitely like no idea what's going on. This is awesome, you know. And it wasn't actually with the show that we did a while back.
Right.
I ended up bringing in the production crew during the not the main event, but just because I had never seen some like, these people were amazed. And then it was really nice to bring those people in and have them be in complete awe of what the Amazon room and like the entire, you know, Rio is bustling with chips. It's like chirping. It's almost meditative. Like it's like it really is just a special place.
Yeah. And the shuffling of chips, you either love it or hate it. But to me, it's very soothing. It's very calming. The sound of the crickets in the room. Anyway, lots of people are still tuning in. Adam Levy and I are watching the 2010 WSOP main event, in which he went very deep. We're still yet to get to some of the most important hands of that streak. And then also, let me remind you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I do the show once a week, usually on Thursday. Today we made an exception. We did it on Wednesday. If you want to dive into the archives, I did this with Chris Moneymaker, Greg Raymer, Joe Hashem, Martin Jacobson, Ryan Reese, Joe McKeon. I think you guys are sensing the theme there. We did some rewatching of their main event final tables. Those are really cool. And Lex Veldhuis and I, now a famed Twitch streamer, back then a famed high-stakes poker gambler, crusher, got his socks bluffed off by Phil Ivey, but also laid into Doyle Brunson with a nice hero call. I did a show with him as well, rewatching every single high stakes poker episode that he was on. So if you like the format, go check those out. They're easiest to find on YouTube, but they're also available on Facebook if you prefer that platform. Adam, I want to pivot into what you've been working on recently, because, or I mean, maybe working on is not really the right term, but I am fascinated by. Whenever you tweet about NFTs and crypto and stuff like that, how did you get into that stuff, and give me as the layman a little bit of context as to maybe why I should care more about it, or how you got to care about it?
I definitely got into it. I actually bought CryptoKitties like 4 years ago, which is like one of the first NFTs, and saw it. I saw the whole craze, and then it kind of just topped and we all went back to business. But I always knew it existed, but I never really like found the area, and I always thought it was a cool technology. But it wasn't until I saw NBA Top Shot really doing its like thing, that I was like, okay, we have a legitimate thing. I really wish I would have known about this 6 months ago. I even I had a crypto podcast with a couple of friends, and we reported on NBA Top Shot, like not in its name form, but like that Dapper Labs was doing something, and I never actually looked into it. And then once I saw, I think it was, and by the way, Peter Jennings, shout out to him, CSU Ram. He tweeted like, hey, just bought this James Harden card for $8,000 or whatever it was, the day that there was a trade for James Harden to the Nets. And at that point I was like I already thought like Peter Jennings was sharp, but like, so it's kind of like one of those things. Is how I learned poker, where it's like, okay, there's smarter people than me. There's like let's listen to what these people are doing. Let's investigate it. So I did, bought some Top Shot, then got into Zed, which is like the horse racing thing that I kind of like found, and I just kept keeping my eyes open. And the deeper it kind of went, it just made me start realizing that NFTs are not a, like, everyone says like, oh, I can just save the JPEG, but it's not a JPEG. It's a technology, and it disrupts art, music, ticketing, like membership. Like if you're a celebrity, let's say if you want to make like a Remco NFT, and you're like, okay, cool. Well, the only way you get to like watch this, show or whatever is like by possessing this NFT.
Right.
Or maybe it's like, whatever it is. That's like a real thing. Like Gary Vee started that, and he has like a convention that in order to go to the convention, you need the NFT. So it's like, yeah, everyone gets wrapped up in the like, the punks and penguins and all this stuff. But the whole thing with those it's like, we're on the internet. Like no one really wants to be their own. Like we're on the internet because we're escaping real life. I mean, yes, obviously it has its practical purposes, but like we're still in kind of a pandemic. Like it's hard to really go outside. Great time to just go on the internet and create a persona where it's just a profile pic, and that profile pic is now known. Like there are some people that I can think of all the top of my head who are like, that's the dude with the pimp coat ape, and he's got like a certain type of hat, and like he's just been some stuff, and it's more about the community that is tied to getting these, because there's only a finite amount. So I hope I did a good job of explaining that. I could definitely go on and on about that.
Yeah, so I'm curious, like, what are you into in the space? I know that it's easy to get priced out of some of these because.
Wait, did you see what Hassan did? He went for the handshake and then just was like, nah, dude. Like I
Hold on.
But if he loses the hand, he would be a very short stack.
The bracelet winners have
Like, was that like a,
both looking for a nice
That was awkward.
yeah, like I thought maybe at the end he was like, oh, I don't want a handshake or something. And then I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I just, Bored Apes are great. I love, just all these different Avatar ones are cool, but I'm really just, I like the art is really cool because the art, the way that it's created is like you're actually just using code to create some of the traits or some of like the art that's made, like art blocks. Like I think it's just like a really fascinating thing, and some of them like they come out a little weird, but others are just truly great to look at. And I think that's pretty cool. I mean, there's so many things out there. It's really a crazy space right now, but you should definitely just like kind of get involved and find some stuff that you like personally, and never just get into it because you're trying to make an investment.
Yeah, it's definitely a strange world, and I'm only 34 years old, and it makes me feel old that I don't understand how some of this stuff works. But I do own a fraction of a Bitcoin. But only because someone owed me money, and they said, "Can I send you crypto?" I'm like, I guess. I don't know. We can try that.
Is that a tell? He got aces and then took the biggest yawn I've ever seen.
It's a relaxing moment when you get dealt aces. That's for sure.
Yeah.
By the way, shout out to Filippo Candio. What a legend.
Yeah. See, that's me. They highlighted me with the 9 deuce, just sitting there blinding away.
You were kind of blinding away on this day, right?
Yeah, no, it was like that fives hand was like the only op really I had, and maybe I mean, if we were to go back and look at like because I think that defending the big blind was kind of known, but to be honest, it wasn't as widespread by any means then. So it's possible that I wasn't flatting enough from the big blind or a couple spots from late position, but overall it was basically just 9-2 for hours,
right?
And a couple spots.
Yeah, that must be frustrating, especially when you're surrounded by so many aggressive players at this table, because they were hamming it up at like final 2 tables, and so many big pots were being played, which is kind of funny to look back on how splashy people were. I mean, nothing will ever rival Billy Kopp and Darvin Moon the following year, but it was pretty aggressive also in this day. Do you miss this era of poker, or are you excited that you were part of it, and whatever you have going on now is also very exciting in its own way?
I miss this era of poker. Like it just I guess maybe I missed live poker, like for one, and then Remco, did you?
Yeah.
Oh no, I thought you froze for a second,
No.
but you're really still.
I'm very still.
Yeah, no. I mean, oh wow, that's a big hand right there. But yeah, I miss live poker, and then I also miss like just like the emotions of people at the table. It's like annoying, but it's also like it just really provides an added layer. That's why I love the main event, because there's always someone who's never like played. There was a dude who won from Georgia, not the state, the country.
Right.
He won his local like satellite back-to-back years to get into the main event, from $150 equivalent or something. Like, I love that, and so yeah, I mean, I wish every tournament was like the main event, and also like things were kind of how they are, back then.
Question coming in from
just more fun.
Right. Question coming in from Freakos on YouTube. He says, "Have you and Hellmuth ever had a drink together after that Queen 10 hand?"
Somewhat. I mean, actually, so I guess Ultimate Bet had this Aruba thing where it was like Phil's penthouse,
right?
And he would just have parties and stuff on the rooftop, and we chatted here and there a little bit, and would just be but not really that much. It is interesting to me though that like I was just like chosen as like it's crazy how much of power he has, in his tirades. That is just like all of a sudden, decade later, people are still hitting me up. Kids who were like 12 years old then are just running into like, "You're the Queen 10 guy." I'm like, yeah, like I had no idea. It was like, it's kind of like if Phil just decides to go on a tirade and, but yeah, I mean, we chat here and there, but he's like got like a kind of a, just some sort of like outer layer that he tries to just keep like in public for the most part. So I just try to, like maybe if, like went to a private game or whatever one time, I'd happily play with him, but nothing, nothing too concrete.
It's definitely funny knowing Phil a little bit, having seen him. He's the same no matter when the cameras are on or off.
Yeah.
He's always Phil Hellmuth, which makes him even more iconic. But yeah, in a way, you basically became famous because he got so upset at you. And you're saying that to this day, people still remind you of that?
Yeah. So I had like $3 million in online cashes and like maybe 500 or 600K like in live at that time. And it doesn't matter like what I did like it does nothing to do with it. Like some people be like, oh, you're ruthless, like online, like, like fuck, I used to watch you all the time. But like that few and far between that happens. And it's way more just like, oh my God, you're the Queen 10 guy, like from various people. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, I paused it here because we have 2 iconic moments left. One of them is this hand. Adam, we've heard this commentary many, many times, so I'm just going to keep the audio quiet here in this iconic moment between Duhamel and Affleck. Walk me through how you sort of experienced this moment.
Well, I'm bored because I'm not playing any hands. But man, there was a good amount of tension pre-flop, like because it's TV, it's edited down. But I think in total, this was like a 15-minute hand.
Wow.
Like there was probably like 2 or 3 minutes that Duhamel was thinking before he made a move, like pre-flop. And then there was like, I mean, yeah, like he does this quickly, but he was thinking for a bit. And it's like, I mean, Affleck, dream scenario, me just wishing like, please go at it, do something wild. Like I'm short, I need to ladder. By the way, there's something we can talk about after the hand with the laddering that is not shown on TV at all, but it is like, it was such a weird circumstance for me to be in. So yeah, and then the flop comes this, and it's like, you're not expecting Duhamel to ever have jacks here. Like maybe he 4-bets or whatever. Duhamel kind of played like he was trying to win and only win, to be honest. So that's it's a big bet. Those are Matt Affleck's friends there, I think. And man, these stacks are so high. Every moment was not 20 seconds. It was, every street was like a minute. So then this turn comes, and like, I don't know. I think if you ask Duhamel now, he'd be like, yeah, I have no idea what I was doing. Like what I was thinking going through this. But in the moment, there's so many layers. You get nervous, like he called the 4-bet, then bets huge on the flop, goes check call, and then shoves the turn. Like Duhamel's getting 3-1, but like he thinks for like 8 minutes here or something. Like you want to like, and it was just like, he's embarrassed. He doesn't want to open his hand. He's just like, I just threw away all my chips. And like, you want to pause it here before so that is exactly it. Like Affleck went, okay, so 7 minutes go by or whatever in the tank. You're never expecting Duhamel to ever have like outs here, really. You're like, okay, he probably has kings. Maybe he has, I don't know. You're just not expecting it to be jacks or, anything with more than 6 outs. So when Affleck sees jacks and it's actually 10, he's freaking out a little bit.
And it's the most bizarre thing of this whole hand is that on every single street, Duhamel has a chance to get away from it. And on every single street, he makes the move that you don't expect. Or I mean, I'm not a wizard, but you could fold this pre-flop, you could fold this on the flop, you can fold this on the turn. The way the stack sizes are, how big a stack Affleck had also, people forget that. Affleck's stack was also massive.
They were 1 and 2, basically.
Basically 1 and 2. And then for them to get it in on the turn, what is going through Duhamel's mind this entire hand? What does he think Affleck has? Like, nothing makes sense. Ace King, what? Like, I don't know.
I think Affleck did a really good job of being very being loose, but very but not as loose as get 3-bet, and all these different things. Like there's just a lot of aggression back and forth. And yeah, I agree.
And then this happens.
Hurt on Duhamel. Everyone on pins and needles here at the Rio. This will be the biggest river card of the tournament.
Yeah, a defining moment here late at this main event, Lon. Jonathan Duhamel just wants to disappear inside that hood if he could. Matt Affleck is going to have 41 million chips or no chips. He needs to dodge a king, jack, or 8.
The river card. Oh, it's an 8! A crushing blow to Matt Affleck.
It's so hard to watch.
The smirk on Duhamel's face is just.
Duhamel hit his
Oh
card.
because he's looking at pass. Also, he kind of gives a glance at pass, because they're across. And I'm freaking out more than anyone else. But I mean, yeah, it's just the toughest hand I'll ever witness, I think.
Did you know you knew Matt before this, right?
No, just a little bit, but nothing. He was on a run. He was grinding. My friends give me shit about that because I'm doing this kind of sassy, I don't even know, but it's such a it's such a brutal hand.
Oh, it's such a moment, and it defines this whole tournament because Duhamel basically never lets up after this, takes the chip lead wire to wire at the final table and wins the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
you're like the bystander that's caught in the crossfires.
Yeah, they're like, hey, he didn't really play any hands. We'll give him some footage of the Matt Affleck guy.
Oh yeah. It doesn't matter how many times I see this, it always hurts. The bottle throw.
Outburst from Matt.
Matt Affleck knocked out in stunning fashion yet again.
I mean, bro, it's yeah, you just have such compassion for the situation. It's such a brutal hand. So by the way, as all this is going on, after Matt Affleck, there's a 135K pay jump, and I'm short, I'm card dead. I'm trying to figure out, there's 14, and then I'm trying to figure out, there's Ronnie Barda, but how to ladder. And I'm running back and forth looking at chip stacks. It just legitimately sprinting, being okay, what does he have? What does he have? Because it went on for a bit, and it's dude, that's a Sunday. That's a Sunday million pay jump. So I hustled for 12th place, I guess, because I kept going back and forth and seeing who, and yeah, I mean, that was just that 2010 main event, I think is definitely one of the best ones, and then even at the final table with Joe Chong and then Felipe Candio, it's just a perfect main event.
Mizrachi, that cheer that he had was one of the loudest ones ever, rivaling only Scott Lazar.
Oh probably. Yeah, with Matt Jarvis.
Yeah, correct.
That was
just insane. But yeah, here we are, final 12. 6-6. That's a real moment in time as far as the main event goes. So close to the final table. You've been card dead all day. Structure is super slow. So much built up energy. Mizrachi, the only player shorter than you, I think. You were 12th and he was 13th.
Yeah, he was actually playing really smart. He was limping. And I wish, I had been a little more I just was very much a reshove, go all in kind of player back then. And Mizrachi was I'm just going to limp with Jack 10 suited on 8 big blinds. It's the main event. And I did not take that with enough care.
Right.
Looking back. But that it is what it is. It's kind of one of those double-edged swords where it's I got there because of this stuff. Now it's time, I
mean, look at Duhamel's chip lead. he's got the same amount of stack as second and third combined, which is basically how he rushed in there.
Yeah,
you're 10 of 13. Look at that.
There you go. 10 of 3. That's why we're running back and forth. Like Missouri's like 6 big blinds, and there's 3 other stacks. Like Brandon Stevens at the other table.
That's so crazy. I didn't realize. So like you were basically on the actual November 9 bubble with your stack in that situation, which is kind of
That was also another thing. Our 4 stacks were so short that it was like I needed to make some sort of like move, I think.
Here's Mizrachi with the kings. This, of course, huge for you, hoping that he busts.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not exactly the best. I wonder if he limps his hand, but oh no, small and big blind.
Yeah, Mizrachi has had his share of good fortune at the WSOP, winning the 50K twice.
No doubt.
Main event final table. It's just crazy how he's done it time and time again.
It's just funny, like the hysterics. It's like a 2-outer, you know, like it's been like she's like, oh, thank God.
But that's what it feels like in the main event. That's
it really does. It's just
tears.
Yeah, it gets like heightened up. You know, everything is just so tense. Like the energy is you can feel it. You really can either way.
Exactly. And by the way, this is the patch era. Give me numbers here, because I've heard every number imaginable for what players would get to wear a patch during the main event at the feature table. Like what were the numbers back in the day?
It was like 5 figures. I think there'd be like a random, like that day 4 before I had like a deal with UB or whatever, it'd be like 5K for just wearing a patch or something at a feature table.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it, there was no social media, so things were not as diluted. Like as far as, you know, where the ad money was going, it was just like everyone was seeing this, you know, who was in the you know, watching ESPN or whatever. There were so many people watching more, so it was almost worth it. I don't know what I'm saying right now, but
I want to see this because they make a joke about you.
Do we lay at risk? His wife Jennifer in the middle there, very anxiously watching on.
Adam Levy, an interested bystander.
I know you're sweating this too.
There is a pay jump after the next elimination.
You're a nice guy and all, but 150K is a nice chunk. It's a $100,000 hand.
Yeah. Adam Levy looking for a pay bump. John Dolan looking for a knockout.
Yeah, I mean, that's nothing either like Lee can do about that.
Yeah, that's just how it goes when you're on the short stack.
Yeah.
But there must be nothing like going deep in the main event, right? Like day after day, bagging chips.
Oh my, yeah. I mean, it's just it just is elation, and you know, and then you also, because you never really know when it's going to end either. So you're just trying to be in it as long as you can, and then when it ends, it's like all those emotions kind of, you know, dissipate, and you have to feel like the reality, go back to reality. But when you're in it, it really is just like being in this amazing, you know, yeah, you don't know when it's going to end, and you just gotta play one hand at a time and hope that you just keep crushing it.
And there's you are featured for falling your way into 12th place.
There you go.
There we go. So you mentioned earlier that if you could have the hands back, you probably would have done things differently. Did you also mean with that the final hand, or was that more so about that hand where you folded queens against Le Francois?
No, the final hand as well. This one. By the way, like when I go all in, he says, "Sorry, bro," as soon as he calls. Like I went all in UTG for like 16 big blinds. That's my ex-girlfriend too. And like he goes all in for 16 big blinds, and so I do under the gun, and I just like shouldn't have. Like I could raise, but I had just shoved up to the hand before up to like 16, and like, I mean, yeah, I should just raised. It was like Filippo Condio's big blind or something,
right?
You know, and I'm not very happy.
Are you in this moment already hating yourself for even shoving?
He said sorry, bro, to me as soon as he flipped his hand over, which basically meant it's aces.
Yeah.
And I just was like, yeah, like.
There it is.
Good game. Good luck, everyone.
Levy 48th in 2008, 12th this year. Those are impressive numbers.
And he does earn his $635,000. Jonathan Duhamel.
There it is. More chips for Duhamel.
Yeah, I should just raise. You know, it's not the end of the world, but like shoving is fine. But these days you just got to raise, and I should just raise because it's such a critical moment on a tight big line.
Right. For everyone who is just tuning in, this is Adam Levy. We are watching the 2010 WSOP main event. The pay jump was made. However, you did not make the final table. 120K pay jump definitely feels good when you get this deep in the main event. Sadly, no final table, but as you said earlier on the show, you're going to play until you're Jack Uri's age, a 97-year-old man who played the main
Let's
event.
hope so.
Way back in the day. Adam, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. It was really fun looking back at all these moments from the WSOP. For the people who are interested in watching more WSOP footage, all of it is available on PokerGO. Every single year that was ever taped is available on PokerGO. So go check that out, every single main event broadcast. For example, last week, I watched the Scotty Wynn main event win. Fantastic. There's one moment in there, I did not know that moment existed, but basically his opponent heads up, name escapes me right now, but goes all in, heads up, and then asks the tournament director if he can go to the bathroom. And he just he walks off stage, he goes to the bathroom, and Scotty goes, "Where did he go?" He's trying to get a read. The guy just disappears. Anything was possible
That's hilarious.
Back in the late 90s. So plenty of exciting stuff for you guys to look back on if you want to watch more poker. Also, WSOP streaming will happen on PokerGO. We got a really, really cool schedule of events, and that starts really soon. And actually, I'm wearing the hat right now, but Poker Masters is starting on September 7th. We're going to have, I want to say, 12 days of streaming on PokerGO of high roller action from the PokerGO studio. So that should be a lot of fun as well. Adam, what do you have going on? What should we look out for? Any content, any podcasts, or anything else that we can expect to see you at?
I mean, probably just on Twitter, Ruthless, ROTHLUS. Just going to be grinding NFTs and probably watching more of this. A lot. There's this. That was a great little compilation of all those players just now. Yeah, I mean, not too much going on. And just, enjoying life right now.
Yeah, you can see his Twitter handle on the screen, and mine as well, at Remkorinka, at Ruthless. That's how you can find us. I'll be back with more next week. You guys, thanks all so much for watching. This was a Run It Back.
You guys are clear?